Before he turned 21, Frank Abagnale had already cashed millions in forged checks across multiple countries. Banks trusted signatures, airlines trusted uniforms. Entire systems relied on appearance and confidence. Abagnale exploited that weakness repeatedly during the 1960s, impersonating pilots, lawyers, and doctors while moving through airports and hotels almost unnoticed. At one point, authorities from over 20 countries were searching for him simultaneously. What made him dangerous wasn't violence, it was speed. By the time one bank discovered the fraud, he was already operating somewhere else under another identity. The plan was economic warfare. During World War II, Nazi Germany launched Operation Bernhard, one of the largest counterfeiting operations in history. Prisoners inside concentration camps were forced to produce forged British banknotes with near-perfect accuracy. Historians estimate over £130 million in counterfeit currency were printed, worth billions today. The goal wasn't simple profit, it was destabilization. Flood Britain's economy with fake money and weaken the financial system itself. Some notes were so convincing that banks continued finding them in circulation years after the war ended. The bills looked terrible. That's what made the story strange. Emmerich Uettner operated for nearly 10 years printing counterfeit $1 bills from a small apartment in New York. He used basic materials, cheap paper, and crude equipment. Yet authorities struggled to track him because nobody expected such low-quality counterfeits to circulate successfully. By the time he was arrested in 1938, thousands of fake bills had already spread through everyday transactions. Small purchases, quiet exchanges, invisible movement. His case proved something dangerous. Counterfeit systems don't always require sophistication. Sometimes they only require volume and patience. Every minute mattered. During World War II, Adolfo Kaminsky forged identity documents for resistance networks while Nazi forces occupied France. False passports, ration cards, work permits. Entire families depended on papers that had to survive official inspection under extreme pressure. Kaminsky reportedly worked for days without sleep because delays could mean deportation or execution for those waiting. Historians estimate thousands escaped capture using forged documents linked to resistance operations. In wartime, counterfeit identity became the difference between survival and disappearance. The bills were almost impossible to detect. During the late 20th century, intelligence agencies began investigating so-called superdollars, counterfeit US $100 notes produced with extraordinary precision. The paper, ink, and security features appeared nearly identical to genuine currency. Some investigators suspected state-level involvement because the production quality exceeded normal criminal operations. The exact source remains disputed decades later, but the concern became global. If counterfeit currency reaches near-perfect quality, trust in money itself begins to weaken. Experts called the paintings masterpieces. Museums displayed them proudly. Wealthy collectors paid enormous sums. There was only one problem: the works were fake. Han van Meegeren became one of the most infamous art counterfeiters in history by forging paintings supposedly created by Johannes Vermeer. Even professional art historians authenticated the works as genuine. During the 1930s and 1940s, his paintings sold for massive amounts across Europe. His deception became so convincing that authorities initially accused him of selling national treasures to Nazi officials before discovering the truth. The documents appeared historically explosive. Mark Hofmann forged rare manuscripts, letters, and religious documents during the 1980s using aged paper, chemically altered ink, and fabricated historical details. Collectors and institutions paid huge amounts believing the items could reshape parts of American religious history, but pressure built as scrutiny increased. In 1985, bombs connected to Hofmann killed 2 people and injured others during attempts to conceal the fraud. The case escalated from forgery into homicide, shocking historians, investigators, and collectors simultaneously. He sold the Eiffel Tower. Twice. In the 1920s, Victor Lustig exploited confusion surrounding maintenance costs for the famous Paris landmark by posing as a government official. Scrap metal dealers believed the tower might secretly be dismantled. One businessman paid enormous sums for fake ownership rights before realizing the deception. Lustig later moved into large-scale counterfeiting and financial fraud operations across Europe and the United States. Authorities described him as one of the smoothest confidence criminals of the era because victims often didn't realize they'd been manipulated until long afterward. The packaging looked legitimate. The medicine inside wasn't. Across global black markets, counterfeit pharmaceuticals became one of the fastest-growing criminal industries in modern history. Fake antibiotics, cancer drugs, painkillers, and vaccines spread through supply chains affecting millions of people worldwide. The World Health Organization estimates that in some regions, up to 1 in 10 medical products may be substandard or counterfeit. Unlike fake currency, counterfeit medicine directly kills. Patients believe they are receiving treatment while dangerous or inactive substances spread through hospitals and pharmacies. Entire factories operated behind locked gates producing fake watches, handbags, shoes, and electronics at industrial scale. Global counterfeit trade now generates hundreds of billions of dollars annually according to international estimates. Shipping containers filled with fake luxury goods move across ports every year while online marketplaces accelerate distribution worldwide. Some counterfeit operations became so sophisticated that even trained inspectors struggled identifying differences quickly. Modern counterfeit systems no longer operate from hidden basements. They function like multinational businesses. Collectors believed they were buying Picassos, Matisses, and Modiglianis. Instead, many purchased works created by Elmire Daori, one of history's most prolific art forgers. His paintings entered galleries, auctions, and private collections across multiple countries during the mid-20th century. Experts authenticated many pieces as genuine. Some remained undiscovered for years. The scale of the deception damaged confidence throughout sections of the art market because even professionals struggled separating authenticity from imitation. The chips looked authentic until systems failed. Counterfeit electronics entered military equipment, hospitals, aircraft systems, and industrial infrastructure through complex global supply chains. Some investigations uncovered fake semiconductors relabeled as certified components before being sold into sensitive industries. The danger wasn't only financial. Failed electronics inside critical systems could risk lives directly. Modern counterfeit operations increasingly target technology because the profit margins are enormous and detection can be difficult. Printers ran through the night while fake euros flooded black markets across Europe. Criminal networks tied to high-quality euro counterfeiting operations produced notes capable of bypassing basic detection systems in shops and small businesses. Millions in counterfeit currency circulated before authorities dismantled parts of the operations. The introduction of the euro created a new opportunity. One fake note could move through multiple countries before detection. Scale amplified the threat dramatically. One passport could change an entire life. Counterfeit identity networks now produce fake passports, visas, driver's licenses, and government documents used in organized crime, illegal migration, espionage, and financial fraud. International law enforcement agencies regularly uncover operations capable of producing thousands of forged documents annually. Airports, borders, and banks increasingly rely on digital verification systems because traditional visual inspection alone is no longer enough. The voice sounded real. The face looked real. That was the danger. Modern AI systems can now generate fake videos, cloned voices, forged identities, and synthetic documents at speeds impossible only years ago. Companies worldwide have already reported millions lost through AI-generated impersonation scams targeting executives and financial departments. Digital counterfeiting is evolving beyond paper and ink. The next generation of forgeries may target reality itself. Different centuries, different methods, same weakness. Every counterfeiter exploited trust. Trust in money, trust in documents, trust in systems people assumed were secure. And as technology advanced, the forgeries evolved with it. Because the most dangerous counterfeit isn't always the fake object itself. It's the moment people stop knowing what's real anymore.